Okay, looking good. Hello and welcome everyone to my salty cast. So a bit late on this one. AC22 happened a while ago, and I've been putting it off like a procrastinating slacker, but you know, we got there in the end. Hello Sujuk. Any chance you can confirm that the Discord streamer mode thing is working? I just don't want to go and interrupt now. We've finally got everything set up, so. Yeah. I think we're ready. In the meantime, let us get started. AC22, bit short on the players for this one. I think only 7 participants, so the round of 8's a bit shorter. But you know, I'm sure there's plenty of good plays, and I am included in here as well, along with a few notable others. So we shall kick off in the meantime. So here we are on Clash Teeth. Real nice, open, non-aggressive map, right? Yeah. And it is Tren, myself, as Knef versus Leafy Breeze as Coalition. So we'll see how this one goes down. But if Clash Teeth is just anything to go by, it's just going to be aggression, outright aggression. So in the south, as Knef in red and yellow, we have Tren, who is focusing CUs, which does not surprise me. And if we reveal, we will see Leafy Breeze in his grey and purple. He is strange split, 3 on CUs and 1 on RUs. We'll see how that pans out for him. In the meantime, I'll have none for now. Now, I've said this time we shall play it as though I am playing myself, and being me on Clash Teeth, it is an aggressive map. So I know I'm going to need to get in my opponent's face early, and I'm going to have to worry about AV rush. Now, as far as the actual play I went with this time around, I do not recall. It's been quite a while. But we'll see. Typically a solid choice for this map is, however, assault ships, due to the shorter distance to travel. Much easier to get them across the map and do some real damage, be a real threat, and put on pressure. In the meantime, we have Leafy Breeze just coming out and scouting. If he runs into this base from below, that probe is not going to last long. Nope, down it goes. Always got to be careful when scouting your probes. Probably one of the most reliable means of stopping a probe is base runner. So, in the meantime, as usual, getting my resourcing up, getting the mobility system running. So, although they're having to run this distance, it's actually faster than anyone else trying to do it. So, it does make quite a difference for Knef. Another probe coming out to scout. He's going to want to be careful of that production cruiser, but I'm not sure he's probably just trying to find out how far I've gone with my resourcing, how exposed I'm going to be. Any sign of tech on Leafy Breeze? No. No sign of AAV, no sign of rail tech, and no sign of air. I wouldn't expect air this early, that would be crazy. So for now, he's just trying to deny this base runner. The real question is whether I see about bothering with a blast drone for it, which I do. 2 LAVs? Yeah, I suppose it's worth it. Guarantee this. And as long as the base runner gets away, I can then recycle it and get more than the cost of the blast drone back. Let's see how Leafy... Oh no, that's going to be... Yeah. Immediately loses 2 LAVs because blast drones. And I don't think that this LAV is going to really be enough to stop this. Yeah. So immediately, once I've done the pickup, because Knefi base runners cannot be repaired, I typically recycle it, and that means you get 187 CUs back, which is obviously more than the cost of that one blast drone, which took out 2 LAVs, and I've already got an artifact out of it. So assault ships rolling out, because again, it's a good choice on this map. Between the short distance to travel for ground units and the fact that air can just sail over everything. It's just, yeah. Assault ships into interceptors is always a solid choice. Now then, what is... Yes, so there's the AAV tech, so you can expect to see some AAVs come out, and support cruiser is in place, so he's getting his resourcing secured. Now, how far out is he coming with this? Oh, interesting. Leafy Breeze going around, and looks like that probe just went down to the production cruiser AA. Looks like he got quite unlucky. He was at long range and he managed to get picked off by the first burst. So, enemy carrier closing on our position. Armored vessel taking fire. Hostile scanner detected. Yeah, it looks like Leafy is moving to put a turret down and deny this expansion. Meanwhile, assault ships coming in, starting to pick off the logistics modules. When placing logistics modules, you've got to be very careful. You do want the scouting that they can give you, but you also need to be aware that they are quite easy to kill with only 900 health, and when they go down, it's 250 CUs. Not something you will be paying for. Meanwhile, coming in and harassing this harvester line, and again, there's no units. So although he's teched AAVs, he hasn't actually built any, which seems very strange. Let's see if anything's on production queue. No. Oh, there we go. First one out. Very late AAVs, so I'm not sure why he delayed for so long. Maybe it was for the sake of getting his economy up and he felt quite safe. But yeah, AAVs sooner would have given him a lot more leeway to maybe push this off. In the meantime, these assault ships are just going to bully. They're going to sit back, they're going to regen, they're going to beat these armoured assaults in combat as well. And yeah. Meanwhile, the turret post that was placed down is too far away. That is also a very unfortunate waste. Should have come in a bit closer with that. Meanwhile, as you'd expect with Clash, it's looking like it's going to be short and brutal. So yeah, intercepts being teched in case of any kind of rail transition. There's no sign of rail tech or air tech at the moment, so it doesn't really matter, and with the state of Leafy's economy, I think the assault ships are more than enough right now. I would say that Leafy's best recourse is really to try and keep mining for as long as possible and get those RUs, and maybe power his carrier a bit more, because assault ships are not a threat to the carrier. Where is his RU going? Does he have much resource-wise? Yeah, again, he's got quite an RU bank, so as long as he kept getting some income, he'd probably look at getting some more power in his carrier. I mean, it's not doing too badly as it stands. What's that, power 2 or power 3? Power 2, and then, yeah, he's got the bonus 2 from the pickup. Again, just wave upon wave of assault ships coming in, and I am, in the meantime, going to start going for an artifact win. Simply because I have map control. Turret post goes down. Don't think it's worth it with the shortage of CUs. Investing in that is quite a weak choice. That said, trying to counterattack now, sending these AAVs round, which would be a good choice, except for the fact that there's those interceptors. So when that does show up, they're probably going to just get sniped by the interceptors, not do that much damage. Meanwhile, he's left exposed to another assault by assault ships, and how far? Like, I think that's just 3. Only 3 salvages up in the meantime. So yeah, before they even get to attack, interceptors come up and begin sniping them off. He does get moving, so that should mitigate some of the damage, but I don't think these AAVs are going to be able to achieve much. Not really something to be afraid of when you've got interceptors up like that. And especially not when you've got this kind of lead and you're picking up all the artifacts. Meanwhile, continuing to snipe off the logistics modules. Don't want to sit in range of the carrier and take missile hits. The interceptors only managed to kill 1, so I've got an assault ship coming back to try and fend that off, another one coming out here, and again with armor 11 on these assault ships, the armored assaults are really not able to contest them at all. It's really best for the armoured assaults to be shooting at anything but the assault ships. It looks like he's trying to lure back into that turret post, but we'll see if that works out for him. Meanwhile, recycling another base runner. And apparently I just got an achievement. Okay. Who knew? So yeah, he's managed to lock himself down here, so it's actually quite difficult for these assault ships to push in. Moving on that turret would just see him get mowed down by the carrier missiles. So again, this position is relatively safe, but it doesn't really protect him against air. Although he's got an AA turret out here, it's not really going to help him back home. Yeah, just picking off and destroying the what little income he has. It's foregone conclusion, I think, at this point. Leafy is so far on the back foot. It's possible for him to go for an artifact victory, and I know this, but again, simply by securing this side with more assault ships prevents that as an option. But let's speed it up a bit. I haven't even bothered to restore the salvages over here, but that said, with the amount of CU bank I've got, I'm not surprised about that. But as you can see, like, if you are being harassed by assault ships, powering the carrier is very effective. The missiles are very effective, even though these guys have got so much health. They're still taking a lot of damage moving in, and it's really up to the interceptors to do the damage. So again, if that AA turret had been placed back here, along with the defense turret, he probably would have been in some position to defend and maybe come back, especially with the economic damage back here. In the meantime, though, I'm just using the excess power I've got to start weaponizing my carrier and come up. So, also respect the damage from interceptors. The ability to just do this to a carrier is scary. How many interceptors is that now? Yeah, 2 full wings, so don't even think the carrier needs to get involved, just keep coming in with the interceptors and it's over. Now why would I have changed target? I could have just focused down that carrier and had it over and done with by now. There we go. Carrier doesn't even do anything. Something went wrong with the stream? Again, I'll have to have another look at the stream mode on Discord, but in the meantime we'll focus on this. Right now I am up 1-0 versus Leafy Breeze. Essentially the weakness there was Leafy didn't have those AAVs as early as he should have, and that allowed the assault ships to just roll in uncontested. I also feel like he could have put down a turret sooner, which would have prevented the aggression, or alternatively rushed rails, but that's a much riskier prospect, especially when air is a threat. So again, it seems like Leafy just went a little bit too greedy and it left him open to the typical aggression you see on Kalash Teeth. So we shall move on to game 2 on Turing Crater. Okay, good. I prefer, you know, the stream not go horribly wrong and crash and everyone's there just leaving because it's terrible. Okay, and here we are on Torring Crater. Again, myself in the south, in red and yellow, rolling Canef, because Canef faction is best faction, and Leafy Breeze in the north, rolling Coalition in grey and purple. Again, last game it was really the early assault ship aggression that puts Leafy so far behind. So hopefully this game he's a bit more, well, reactive and ready to go. Well, proactive I suppose is more it. That he's got the tools up and ready when he gets access to them. I just feel like the AAVs were so late, especially on that map. Again, probe coming out to scout. When scouting, again it's weird. Essentially, when you pull your first probe, you want to find the carrier. You want to avoid production crews, you want to avoid base runners, you want to avoid enemy LAVs. The carrier just has no way of actually threatening a probe until it builds something that's got AA. And having your probe sat scouting the enemy carrier allows you to see that first tech choice when it comes up. Also it forces your enemy's hand. They feel like they need to spend money to counter it. So I would argue for him right now, he doesn't want to be going over here and checking out what's going on here. Just by scouting the carrier, he'll be able to see how many salvages are coming back from the expansion. He'll be able to see any tech choices that come up on here, and he forces me to do things like move my production cruisers to try and find and eliminate the probe. Is he gonna... looks like... yeah, he's gonna lose the probe to the base runner. That is a real shame. No, I would have been quite happy keeping it sort of around here, abusing the terrain here, forcing the production crews to try and catch it, and looking to scout the first tech choice come up, which is going to be railguns. And for anyone who has seen my railgun build is not very nice. It's not kind. And at this point, it currently starts with CU focus, not RU, so it's slightly slower at actually getting rails out, but it allows for... are we going to have this again? Yep, two LAVs. Even spaced, it's just large enough AoE that it gets both. But yeah, essentially the economic opening for rails and assault ships is the same. The difference is that using the extra CUs off the bat, I get the production cruiser before rail tech, and that leads to this. So right now you would only be able to scout the production cruiser and the railgun tech happening at the same time, and of course assault rails are already on the production queue, so it leaves a very narrow margin for actually scouting it and effectively knowing you're dealing with rails as opposed to assault ships. So So AAVs coming out, I'd say, yeah, much more on the ball with getting AAVs out, but they're going to struggle against the assault rails, so Leafy really needs to be looking at getting rail tech as well, as soon as possible. So he has now seen these assault rails, so he's pulling back the AAVs. Yeah, there's really no way you can save this base run. It's just a case of getting that artifact hit, which he does, which may be crucial in him holding this aggression off, as obviously the extra 2 power is going to give him enough to get range to actually threaten and keep these assault rails in check. 9 armor already on the assault rails, and those assault rails benefiting from the extra power, going up to 106 speed. Why am I getting notifications from Steam? I turned all those off. So I thought, never mind. I've always maintained this as an unprofessional cast, and it will continue to be so. So we've got 5 assault rails, 2 heavy rails, 2 production cruisers on Leafy's doorstep, which I hope he can actually see, because if not, yeah. So yeah, that extra range and the extra offensive power coming into effect. This heavy rail overextending, looks like the AV is going to get, well, yeah. In the meantime, unfortunately, yeah, using these production cruisers to just absorb damage, absorb fire. However, as they're producing heavy rails, that's a misplay as they're being produced into the enemy's face. Misplayed there. He definitely could have sniped that off. Yeah. So essentially gave smoke and covered the retreat of that heavy rail. That would have been a really nice pickup. Keeping it down to one heavy rail. Let's see if I've corrected my... Yeah, I've corrected my rally points now, so all rails are immediately going to the back rather than sitting around the production cruisers. Yes. Any sign of rail tech? Nope. Yeah, these heavy rails are really starting to eat in. Can't push in with those assault rails there. So it is looking brutal. And as far as me, I know I'm in a dominant position. As long as I can continue to do damage, as long as I can continue to prevent him building up or getting stronger, I can scout with production cruisers. Production cruisers probably have, the best view range of any of the units in this army composition. Also the most health, which is nice. Assault rail goes down, and again, it's pretty much all of the damage is coming out of that carrier at this point. The carrier is the one that's picking up all of the kills, doing all the damage. It's not really the AAVs. And we've got a wing of LAVs coming out now. Suspect that once that smoke clears, the assault rails are going to chew them up quite badly. Yep. Not really able to threaten anything. Splitting out the heavy rails and the assault rails to ensure that they don't all get surrounded. And again, pushes back in. But you'll notice whenever I'm playing this rail build, I sweep in and sweep out. I don't want to get caught up in a fight. I don't want to take sustained damage. I want to back off. I will get a bit of the healing going again. These units heal quite quickly, so backing off shortly, replenishing health, and then coming back in can be crucial. I'd say this is probably a misplay, letting them get bunched up like that, but it does seem like it's over, so just ending it. Just trying to make sure I'm getting as much damage on as possible, and maintaining vision with production cruisers. And Leafy goes down to two brutal rushes. Yes, two very aggressive maps, both Kalash Teeth and Tauren Crater, favouring very aggressive playstyles. Not to say you can't play defensive. I'm sure in the case of Discara or a game they would figure it out, and probably have had rails by the time I'd moved around. But again, very difficult position for Leafy to be in, and just picked apart by those rails. However, moving on, we have Coercer versus Saturus. Concerning the quality of my stream, I end up toning down the bit rate due to the fact that some people were finding the stream unstable, which is probably why it's not quite at that level. I might try turning it back up, we shall see. But in the meantime, we have Coercer in his red and white Galcian in the south, and in the north we have Saturus running Knef in what I presume is black and red, yep. So we are on Firebase. Coercer immediately recycling his base runner, spitting out a scanner, just to give himself that extra bit of scouting on that flank. And in the meantime, Saturus obviously keeping his base runner, and what is he up to? Not much currently by the looks of things. What the production queue is looking like. Yep, just salvages. Firebase is a weird one. There are plenty of good positions for rails. Again, up here, here, along here or here. These areas up here, and same over here. But because there's so much line of sight blocking terrain, there's lots of opportunities for things to pounce on them. So faster, scrappier units can actually be quite scary, as long as you position them well and take advantage of the terrain. We'll see how things play out, but I would expect, yeah, so we've got railguns coming from Coercer. Hard to say what Saturus is going to run though. It is possible he'll run rails and have rail wars all day, but it is possible he's going to go with the assault ships into air and just use that mobility. We'll have to see how things play out. Yeah. So Coercer rushing to get his third up and running. Meanwhile, Saturus focusing on his first two, just securing those. Do we have... no refinery mode yet, so I'm not sure if this is going to be worth it. It looks like, meanwhile, Saturus has gotten refinery mode instead, which is going to probably be a much more efficient way to get that additional income. Let's just check here. Yeah, so he's gotten refinery mode instead and focused on these first two. Meanwhile, Coercer has this long haul, which I don't think is worth it. I think at that point you really need to be looking at having refinery mode coming up. He still hasn't started it, so this may be a wasted investment, and is just going to be slowing down his economy in the long run. So yeah, we've got assault rails coming out. But Saturus is going to safely pick up his first artifact. Let's see, what have we got? We have rail tech from Saturus as well. So it's definitely going to be rail wars, both of them going for the assault rails. But Coercer definitely ahead in the production game. He's obviously got units on the field earlier, but considering there's no combat going on, I'm not sure that's worth it. Right now I'd have wanted to send those assault rails out to actually go and fight that base runner and prevent any further pickups, but he's just sent back home with them, which is a shame. It looks like Saturus is just going to bring out his carrier, and I'm going to presume go face, so he's going to have these back here producing assault rails. And he's just trying to get as much power on his carrier as possible. Interesting. So that makes this pickup very important. This could be very problematic for Coercer right now, because there's going to be two missiles coming out of this at a time. If they hit, they're going to really rip into those assault rails, but he does have the mobility to avoid them, so... problem is going to be, in fact, now Saturus is running 4 assault rails. Yeah, he's going to lose all of these assault rails, and he's not even going to get the base runner. That's one good piece of news. It's on 14 health, and it's not going to get any more of that health back. It is just a shame that Coercer is sat back here with 2 assault rails in the meantime. See, so yeah, the refinery upgrade has been researched now, but it does feel like, yeah, Coercer is playing catch up now, and at least he sees these assault rails coming. He needs to look at getting some heavy rails, which he has. Like I would have said, just putting them on this ridge here would be good enough. Having one all the way back here, pretty risky. There's no saying that they'll come anywhere near that, and with Knef carrier, it's also possible he's going to end up forgetting about it and he's going to get missiled to death. So, this is looking bad for Coercer. Very bad. So yeah, Saturus is just focusing on assault rails, and then he's using his carrier as his heavy rail to pick off any long-range targets and deal with anything like, say, heavy rails. And I think that's going to work really well, because that's, at this point in the game, there's not enough damage output. You need to stay mobile with that heavy rail, otherwise it is going to go down to this. Ooh, just missed with that first missile, which allowed the heavy rail to survive. Got another one up on here, slowly plinking into the carrier there, but Quest really needs to get this carrier into a... Yeah, he needs to move it forward. The missile isn't actually firing right now, it's just the point defense gun, and only one of them. Missile coming in there. There we go, 2 missiles firing now. So yeah, this is becoming a case of base race. Fortunately, that heavy rail does go down. That's the one that's been putting all this damage on the Kneff carrier. Fortunately, because the Gaussian carrier has 40 armor, assault rails are quite ineffective, but still, that Kneff carrier is a very serious problem. I would say right now, with the sort of bank that Coercer has, he needs to be focusing on assault rails. He cannot afford heavy rails. And assault rails are much more threatening to a Kneff carrier than they are to a Gaussian carrier. It looks like he's not going to be able to get under that carrier. He needs to put some power into his mobility and just get underneath the Kneffi carrier, and then just pump out loads of assault rails. But in the meantime, waves of assault rails are coming down. Yeah, Coercer's stopped building. He's so focused on just... Yeah, I think he's given up at this point. He's just not taking up action. His proactive action would be to get mobility, get underneath the Kneff carrier, and just buy time while his own assault rails are pumped out. Brutal. So, I think something to really keep in mind when doing Gaussian versus Kneff is that if they're rolling assault rails, that's all good. But you can roll assault rails and threaten not just the enemy assault rails, but also that carrier. You do a lot more damage to a Kneff carrier than you do to a Gaussian carrier with assault rails. So I think if Coercer had just said, "Okay, you want to do this? We're just gonna have an assault rail war," I think it would be much closer. I think he also could have looked at powering the mobility in his Gaussian carrier there. Just try and get underneath that Kneff carrier. It just can't deal that brutal damage, and just buys time for units to come in and try and swing that fight in your favour. So I don't think there was definitely play in there that Coercer could have done to try and turn that round, but still a very brutal move by Saturas, getting that Kneff carrier operational, getting it out there and just hammer blows. But as you can see here, Saturas only ran off of two points, his main and one expansion, and you can see the economies are very close, even when you think Coercer's was disrupted by Saturas's assault. They're very close, so, and it obviously slowed down Coercer sort of developing. But that's it, he had the assault rails there. I think he could have denied that first artifact. I think he could have just done more, really. Been out on the field sooner with those units, and just missed opportunities here and there which put him behind. But we shall move on to game 2. Wait, no, there it is, game 2. Which is on Tidan Passage. The order of these replays. I know it's based on the actual time the game was played, based on the provider of the replay. So this means people in different time zones froze it all over the place, but still, damn. So here we are, game 2. Saturas is up 1 game, and we will be watching from his perspective for game 2. And we can see what he decides to run here. Meanwhile, in the north, we have Coercer in his red and white Gaussian carrier. I feel like in game 1 he definitely had options that he could have used and really turned it around for himself. Just a little thing here, a little thing there, which just made the difference. And again, you whenever you're not playing Kneff and you're against Kneff, you kind of hope you're not going to end up with a Kneff carrier in your face in the early game, because it can be very difficult to deal with, and basically forces you to take any late game plans and just kind of ditch them to kind of get it dealt with now. Because as long as that thing has health and has power and missiles, it is a threat to everything around it. So we shall have to see what's going on here. Bit of a delay on getting that expansion up. It shouldn't cause too much harm though. Both fully saturated their mains and are getting to work on their expansions. And Saturus going straight into that refinery upgrade. He wants that. He wants to maximise the expansion income as quickly as possible. I suppose the other thing is it allows him to be aggressive with his Knef carrier sooner, as he doesn't need to keep it back in order to get income. So I suspect we are going to see that Knef carrier heading out onto the field early again. So we shall see. The other thing about this is it forces Coercer to stay with Rails himself. If he's got to be worried about this carrier coming at him, assault ships are no good. Even though they do 5 damage as opposed to 0, which would do to any other carrier. It's just, yeah. Assault ships just don't threaten this carrier at all. And I think that air would be a bit too late to be able to deal with the Knef carrier. So this matchup really seems to, as long as this Knef carrier is going to be aggressive, it feels like it forces you to go Rails. And again, Coercer, come on, man, threaten this base runner. I know you're worried about throwing out blast drone, but there we go. Okay. I think that's still going to be too late. I think that that's going to get it in beforehand. Please tell me he's got armor 1. He has not. So yes, another free power income for Saturus. This, yeah, not a good start. That bonus power makes such a huge difference for that Knef carrier, and I suspect that Coercer may pay for that later. No sign of a blast drone coming out though, so looks like these guys are going to be able to take that out. Coercer should really have armor 1 on these just in case, because it would mean they'd survive a blast drone. But no, it looks like Saturus just wants to bring his own skimmers over and his carrier to punish. At this point, there's no reason for him to be circling like this. He would be better giving a move order up here and using the height bonus to just get this killed as quickly as possible. He then backs off too quickly and it doesn't die. Coercer, man. Now he retreats downhill and gets punished. So whenever you're considering your retreat paths, if you need to get away from an enemy, even if they're of higher number than yours, you want to stay on high ground as much as possible. You would live longer by taking a long route, keeping on the high ground, than you will going down into a ditch and trying to just run in a straight line. So always consider your terrain, always try and stay on high ground as much as possible, or keep your opponent on low ground. Because otherwise you just die so quickly, it is not worth it. Coercer powering his carrier, so trying to fight fire with fire, I presume. That is going to be very difficult to manage on account of the fact that the Knef carrier is basically a carrier hunter. What have we got here? Base runner. Coercer, what are you doing, man? There's a skimmer blob back here, and you don't have the firepower to take on a carrier. What are you doing? You on assault ships, which helps against these. I mean, I can only presume his plan is to try and keep the fight over on Saturus' end of the map for now, and then use the mobility system. So I presume he's going to get more power. Use the mobility system to run away as he gets lower health, so he's going to try for hit and run. Meanwhile, the assault ship helping to keep these, punish and deal with these skimmers. So he's managed to stabilise back home, but he does need to stop this second base runner. I mean, only got 182 health. Meanwhile, I suspect all micro is in here. Now, meanwhile, Saturus has gotten heavy rails to help support this carrier push. He needs to be under that carrier. I think he's taking a little bit too much damage getting under here, and with the fact that there's these heavy rails to support. And he doesn't have the health to actually get away now. So he needs to stay underneath that carrier, and he needs to get these heavy rails off him. But, again, if the heavy rails weren't there, it'd be fine, but because they are, they're just going to take him apart. No, he needed to deny that first artifact. There was, and there's no way you're going to beat a Kenneth carrier one-on-one with a carrier. And the moment it's got support, it's just GG. There's no argument there. So, Hey, you say greedy power level rush. Saturus clearly invested rails at the same time. So the point is he's got all of the carrier killing power. And then he doesn't care about everything else, as long as he's got control. And he's winning the early trades as well. He won the skimmer fight. He got the first artifact. All these little things. And even though Coercer had the stronger economy, it doesn't matter, because he lost his carrier to get that advantage. He didn't have anything to support his carrier. So really he should have waited until he had air at the very least. It's it's a shame. It's a shame. So we shall move on to Payday versus Nunyudumbus. Let us kick off. So we have Payday, rocking the Galcian, orange and white, which should be interesting, against Nunyudumbus Coalition in blue and orange. Fighting on the Boneyard, best map in the game, unless you're Magia and you hate this map for some reason, because, I don't know, issues. I think it's more just to spite me because I like it so much. So in the south we have Nunyudumbus in his blue and orange coalition, focusing them CUs, and looks like no, he's keeping his base runner. And in the north, in orange and white, we have Payday, who I believe just immediately recycled his base runner, but failed to put down a scanner, so I think that's a bit of a misplay. In the meantime, straight onto CUs. Production, as you would expect, is all salvager focused. Payday doing the right thing and splitting his production between his production cruiser and his carrier to get two salvages at the same time. For those who are not aware, why does that not work? Fair enough. The build time between the two salvages, the Coalition salvages and the Galcian salvages is different. The Coalition ones actually build faster, so they also have more armor, which is again just filthy. But again, that's just off the fact that at the beginning you have two production queues to use, and so can still get more out faster. In the meantime, let's just appreciate that the Galcian salvages are called ghouls. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows these ones are foremen. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Again, everyone just macroing up. No tech choice yet from Nunyudumbus, but again, just waiting on those that are used by the looks of things. But again, he's only got power reserve 1. Why? That's putting your tech so far behind. You could be getting rail tech. Makes me sad. No, you don't get power reserve unless you're being attacked or you're going to use your carrier. No, bad. Meanwhile, Payday has turned around his carrier so that his salvage are able to reach the expansion slightly quicker. I would prefer he'd angled his carrier over here, but again, that's fine. Just does a little bit to reduce the travel time, get things running quicker, more efficiently, and I presume he's also rushed the refinery upgrade, which I can check here, and is indeed tech. So, in the meantime, 6 LEVs and a defense turret. Nanya, you don't need any of these things. You don't need all these LEVs. You don't need this defense turret. You need to be on the field. Like, this defense turret could be up here somewhere. These LEVs could be scouting the entire map.
Defend that area with the turret.
Or killing this scanner. Or wait for it. Or going after that base runner you now know has picked up an artifact. Is that a second? That's a second. Alright.
Research completed. Push up to that point.
Did see, even the base runner yelled stop, stop, okay? Like that's how bad.
Strike confirmed. Deploying field logistics module.
This is putting Nanya so very far behind, it's quite concerning. So essentially right now, Nanya has 500 invested in 2 turrets, and another 600 invested in some LEVs, which are currently just sat at base. So that could be, yep, two support cruisers.
We lack sufficient RUs. Rally point
I am highly concerned.
to location.
In the meantime, what have we got? We have assault ship tech from Payday.
Recovered an artifact.
So, yeah, and first assault ship going on the queue.
Armored assault operation.
Feels like all that Payday really needs to do is just expand, get this up and running, and he's golden. He's got the second production cruiser coming, so it shouldn't be too far off. And he must feel like he's got complete map control right now, because there's just nothing.
Enemy light attack.
There are some armored assaults though, which would quite happily punish these sand skimmers, but
Enemy contacts on the board. Confirmed.
I don't know, maybe Nanya wants the enemy to come into his base, so those turrets have got some value.
On our way. Coordinates confirmed.
Yeah.
Strike craft destroyed. Hostile forces.
Yeah, when dealing with sand skimmers, you don't ever really want to chase sand skimmers, you just want to kite them, so you will be angling sort of side to side and back. Otherwise they will just sort of come in, sweep you, and then they can pull off and easily get some high ground.
Guard on that vehicle. Armor confirmed.
Again, like there's no reason why are you playing so defensively? It's some skimmers. These AAVs should just roll straight across the map, like until there's something that says like nope to AAVs. There's no reason for these guys to be here.
Report that the being doing strike craft. I want everything collected. Armored assault operational.
2 free artifacts. 1 second. Oh no.
Hostile forces have recovered an artifact. Carrier production system capacity has been enhanced.
Wait, he's built missile batteries without even seeing assault ships.
Hostile forces are attempting to extract an artifact.
He's allowing his opponent to grab so many artifacts too. I'm so sad right now. I mean, cool. He's preemptively ready for the interceptors, which are almost without a doubt going to come. Like, I don't expect there to be a siege rush,
Full stop.
but 1 second. What kind of bank has?
Copy. Displacing now.
Oh no, he's got to be. Is he doing? He's got to be doing a siege rush. That amount of bank.
Hostile light
What's he
attack
doing?
vehicle visually authenticated. We've detected something. Can you confirm visual? Be advised. Enemy support vehicle authenticated. Strike craft taking effective fire. Hostile armor incoming.
Okay. Let's see what's actually going on here. So again, finally, Nanya now moving out in force should be able to quite easily deal with this base runner. He just needs to ignore these assault ships for now. And I'm hoping he starts building to counter these assault ships. Payday in the meantime on a substantial bank. Again, I expect he might just go straight into siege. Grabbing that high ground, he is actually going to be able to chew through these assault ships quite effectively. Takes out one assault ship. I'd say he wants to run now. He's got more speed on the armored assaults, so he could actually outrun the assault ships quite nicely. But he's just going straight home, so I would prefer sort of running off in this direction. Keeps these from heading towards your base as well. You don't want this lot heading home, otherwise they will just take out the entire resource line. Still idle salvages. F3 is super handy, Nanya, so if you should ever see this, F3 is your friend. Get those guys working. In the meantime, those AAVs will just go down. Again, the best thing to have done there, because assault ships are quite nasty, would have been to retreat off into the north. You would have been in position to block the extraction zone in the meantime. You would have drawn the enemy off in the wrong direction and bought time. Now, either... Alright, okay. So, Payday is in troll mode and is instead going to just power his carrier to maximum. And probably going to try for a few sick flips on his way over. Yeah, as it stands, Nunu isn't even harvesting properly off his first expansion, and Payday has kind of everything. And he's awkwardly positioned on his main. So, rule of thumb, always set it so you are close enough that these guys don't need to move, but as close as you can to here, so really just a V-move to reorient and then moving slightly back would work wonders here for Nanya. In the meantime, his economy is just terrible. He's gone air, which could work if he can get enough out, but he just doesn't have the economy for it. So yeah, it's possible the turrets are going to be enough to force off, or at least do some damage to these assault ships, but I think there's just too many now. So unless Payday's micro is really bad. Yeah, so those intercepts are up, those intercepts are then going to go for those turrets. Yeah, so those turrets are now gone. The assault ship's just going to kind of barrel through now. And yeah, there's a siege cruiser there, so even if this attack were thwarted or felt like we need to pull back, the siege would have just started to work through them. Just a lot of mistakes concerning the basics here, Nanya, which just left your economy very weak, and just a lot of investment in defense and units which then weren't used until much later. Yeah, just Payday's sat on such a vast bank while still having a much bigger army. Looks like he might actually get rid of that siege cruiser, which nice. It's just this massive lead, so not good. Not good. I'm sure since this, Nanya's improved, and it's just there's no point in buying things that aren't going to be used. I know with turrets they need that deploy time, but you're better off using a couple of LAVs to give yourself that extra scouting and just putting them down when you're going to need them, as opposed to handicapping your entire economy. Yeah, someone's got to say it. Someone's got to say it. It's just there's no point in like mincing words. I think it's look at this economy screen, or this score screen, I should say. Just, and a lot of that is the fact that Nanya had idle salvagers. He basically didn't get saturation on his expansion. He didn't get support cruisers. He invested in lots of things he didn't use for ages, which just... right, so let's move on to game 2 on the Shadows. So currently, Payday is of course one game up against Nanya. Very, very convincing win for Payday. Very, very casual victory, it felt like. So we'll see what Nanya's able to do. Maybe it was just a bad first game, a bit out of practice, few macro errors, but we'll see. We'll see. And so in the south we have Payday rocking his orange and white, focusing on CUs and getting everything rolling. Hopefully we see a scanner come out. So press E, throw scanner. No, no. Free scouting. Don't want it. Okay. Okay. And in the north we have Nanya in his blue and orange coalition. Again, focusing those CUs and following up with saturation on RUs. So, yeah, both using a pretty...
Hold position. Course verified. Verify grid mark in advance.
Okay. Right.
New course.
Salvador construction.
Mm-hmm.
New course.
That's a pretty big hit for Payday. Very frustrating for him, I'm sure. Not sure if he's realised what happened, but yeah, that just happened.
Acknowledge. Rally position marked.
That bug.
Rally position marked. Rally position designated. Command verified.
So, yeah. Meanwhile, Nanya investing in 2 base runners. If he puts down 2 turrets, I'm going to be incredibly depressed. I mean, I know it's shallows and you can play defensive, but not this defensive. Put out a probe, find out what's going on, and then put down reactive turrets. Not you don't have proactive turrets. They don't work that way. Right, in the meantime, Payday has... is that going to be... Yeah. That's a problem. So right now, because of the positioning of Payday's carrier, he's actually blocking mining here, so it's making it less efficient. The other 2 deposits seem to be fine, but these guys need to be just shifted over here so that they're efficient again. That and the teleporting salvager, just putting Payday a little bit behind, but I don't know. I think, you know, Nanya's playing it super fair here and making up for it by just handicapping himself out the gate. That said, I think this map works better for Nanya because he likes to long haul. He's got 2 very close wrecks, which long hauling from is actually pretty respectable. So we shall see how that works out. We'll see what he actually goes for and how that works out. In the meantime, Payday, wakey mate. You've got all this income and you're not spending it on any tech.
Light attack vehicle online. Fleet capacity upgraded.
What?
Light attack vehicle rendering complete. Light attack moving. Base runner construction achieved.
And
Light attack vehicle online.
I would have not bought these. As a matter of fact, at this point I would recycle these and I would get tech, because you need tech, and with the amount of bank you've got, probably go with assault ships into air as quickly as possible. But
Heretic forces are
I don't know, maybe Payday's just feeling uber overconfident, but this is not how you do it, mate. 640 RU bank, no tech pick. What? There we go. Right, assault ships.
extraction confirmed.
Straight into it.
Grid mark set. Advance.
Nanya has got a support cruiser. Now it just needs to reposition it slightly. It's all good.
Target location marked.
Meanwhile, Payday moving to deny.
Status positive. Salvador construction.
I suspect he's going to get it quite nicely.
Production cruiser rendering complete. Artifact extraction team en route. Command verified.
Yep. No chance for Mr. Base Runner.
Heretic forces have lost the artifact.
No survivors.
Enemy base runner destroyed.
Merciless robots.
Advance to CE target. Light attack vehicle online. Defense fleet has reached maximum. Light attack vehicle online.
Sand skimmer under fire.
Turret's keeping the skimmer aggression in check.
Fleet capacity upgraded.
Hostile railgun inbound.
Armored craft fabrication lines verified.
Rail rush from Nanya.
Heretic turret identified.
It's going to be interesting.
Advance out.
Let's go and see what exactly is going on. So, in the meantime,
Systems ready.
again, Payday sat on a huge bank. He could quite happily grab interceptors and turn that RU bank into some very useful fighters. Meanwhile, it would appear that Nanya has rushed air and rails.
Artifact extraction.
Strange mix, but see how that serves him.
Armored
So,
ship rendered.
very strange choice though. So he's put down turrets. He's then gotten rails when all he's seen is skimmers. No.
Course set. Research fulfilled.
Yes, this game is gorgeous, and yet we spend most of it looking at it like this, right? Looks so good, but we typically see it as some lines.
Acknowledged.
So yeah, Nanya in a much better economic position here. He's got these two wrecks. He's got this running. He does need to move this support cruiser over a bit,
Coordinates verified.
but it's not the worst thing in the world, thankfully. As far as misplays go, that's pretty awful. So rails going up there.
Sand skimmer and
Is Payday going to notice the ping and go up there and look what's going on? Completely unarmoured, unprotected rails against an army of skimmers.
Fleet capacity upgraded. Command verified.
Mind blown.
Armored ship on.
Such a strange match. Right, okay, so in the meantime, Payday being so greedy has gone with Siege. This does leave him very vulnerable to the air tech, and Nanya is building strike fighters right now. He's only got one in the hangar and one building, but he's building them. What's the bank like? What are people sat on? So, Payday sat on a very large bank of RUs. Nanya in quite good position there. He's going to probably be able to just keep pumping out strike fighters quite effectively. So if we just go back to production. No, I'd say the railgun was a poor choice there. You've got the right amount of RUs to just keep rolling with the strike fighters, but he's going up to 3 now. Meanwhile, looks like Payday's starting to power his carrier and get Siege. But he has no AA. He is literally just relying on the production cruisers for any kind of AA. So out in the field he's got nothing to really protect him against these strike fighters. With Nanya going up to 5 now. And I'm really confused about this railgun placement. Just never...
Defense alert. Incoming hostile strike fighter.
Oh, those strike fighters coming up.
A base runner is under attack.
Defense alert. Artifact drive.
Artifact denied. However, now these railguns are known, and these skimmers are just coming in for the kill.
Armored craft under attack.
And should wipe out these railguns very quickly.
Strike craft destroyed. Hostile turret spotted. Verified. Armored craft.
That was a very peculiar way of it exploding, or lack of an explosion. Meanwhile, in the back, looks like things are getting serious.
Destination locked in. Interceptor fabrication.
So Payday is making his move.
Taking fire.
Systems offline. Carrier weapon systems online. Carrier range systems
Siege cruisers are raining in shells.
systems online.
Assault ships moving in now.
Extraction team en route.
And again, all those railguns went up here, so Nanya doesn't have any railgun support. Let's actually see how things are actually going. Those skimmers are now coming around.
Siege cruiser in contact. Defense alert. Cruiser has been engaged.
Northerner trapped. Missiles to target.
Fight is on, it would appear.
Hostile salvager eliminated.
But again,
Northerner trapped.
Payday doesn't actually have any AA. He's got no way of actually killing these strike fighters, and in the meantime they're just going to start eating away at his army.
Siege cruiser rendering complete. Carrier
Another siege cruiser comes out.
Armored craft taking
In the meantime, Nanya focusing on those strike fighters.
missile barrage. Lock target.
No missile ships coming from Payday.
Carrier hull passing 75.
But again, still eating through that carrier HP.
Get us moving. Defense alert. Hostile strike fighter inbound. Alert.
Siege really starting to eat in there.
Carrier range
So
systems
again,
online.
might just all be over here.
Systems online.
Warning. Carrier hull is at half integrity.
Carrier weapon systems online.
This is such a strange fight.
Extraction confirmed. Systems online.
Those strike fighters trying to focus down the Gaussian carrier with some success.
Warning. Carrier below 25% integrity. Danger. Red alert.
As you can see here, the assault ships are doing basically nothing to this coalition carrier. I think that's it, isn't it? Whoops. And there's another wing in there, so it doesn't quite get him now. He's gonna, yep, yeah.
Until they are forgotten.
Whoops.
Defense carrier lost. Withdraw. Your failure.
And that's what overconfidence gets you, and a lack of AA. Oh dear. Oh dear. Remember, you don't have to actually get artifacts or do everything properly or have a good economy if you can just kill the enemy carrier. Key factor in any fight. Yep, absolutely key. And we are 1-1 going into Game 3 of Payday versus Nanya. Well, I'm guessing after that, Payday is going to feel a little less confident and yeah, knuckle down, be serious, and I suspect Nanya might be feeling a bit more confident about using air and not getting both air and rails. Don't really feel like the rail tech did anything for him in that match, but regardless, here we are on Torring Crater, Payday in the south in orange and white, and in the north we have Nanya in blue and orange coalition. So very, very strange set, this one. Very, very peculiar. I think it's less about who pulls the best play and who doesn't pull the worst play, but certainly keeps things interesting. I think Payday is playing off faction though. He typically plays coalition, so he's probably getting used to Gaussian here, which may explain some of his tech choices. But yeah, again, missing out on that free scanner every time there, Payday, and it's a shame because that scanner is very helpful for giving you more awareness, and if you're up against an opponent who uses AAV Rush, which is 95% of coalition players, it would be really handy. Fortunately, he's up against part of that 5% that doesn't seem to like AAVs. Admittedly, I used to be a member of them. I used to hate AAVs with a passion. Just didn't want to use them. And then I realised that I've kind of got to get over it and just use the minigun wielding armour blocks. So, yeah.
Set drives to idle.
So let's have a look. What do we got going on here? Nothing major yet. Production wise, I'm focusing on getting their economies up. No refinery tech yet, which I suppose is fine for now. But he's getting that second production cruiser. No tech. Strange.
Stalins are online. Rally position
Uh,
designated.
So essentially, when you're going rails or you're going assault ships, well, the main differences is that,
Target position.
for me at
Production
least,
cruiser
is if I'm going rails, I want an extra production cruiser.
Course set.
I want to be maximising the rate at which I can get out railguns, especially assault rails, because they build very slow. I think they're 24 seconds to build one as opposed to the 18 seconds of most of the other things. So again, that makes a very serious difference, especially on a unit you need numbers for. Nunya, of course, just bring down a flag saying, "Hey, here I am." His territory. He wants everyone to know it.
Carrier
The
system.
rest of the map, just kind of, it's there.
Fleet capacity upgraded.
So yeah, again, with assault ships, because they build fast enough, and I don't feel like I want to be producing lots of them. I don't feel like they've got the value of being mass-produced until you just want to overwhelm your opponent, which is going to be later in the game. I'll only run with one production cruiser, and instead I'll look at getting interceptors and using the carrier's production queue to make up for only having one production cruiser. And I mean, that means you're saving 600 CUs, which you can then instead put into the tech and get ahead. But
Production
I
system.
suppose he's going for a cheesy... Yeah, it looks like he's going to try for a cheesy assault ship rush. Very risky. If Nunya's... Yeah, this is the thing. If Nunya had his turrets down up here...
Acknowledge. Armored ship online.
Is this going to be a match where the peculiar irony is that if Nunya did his turret build, where he normally has 2 turrets covering his carrier, he would be fine? But because he's put them at the wrong end...
Ship rendered. Point maneuver underway. We do not have enough CUs.
Again, it's not a case of who makes the best play, it's a case of who doesn't make the worst play. Let us enjoy.
Armored ship rendered. Operator, get us moving.
We're tracking new targets on scan.
Research fulfilled. Armored ship rendered.
Armored craft taking fire.
Course set. Course up.
Hostile scanner spotted.
Confirmed. Ready. On the way. Maneuvers ready. Advance to position. Reposition. Armor loop. Reconcentrate fire on target. Reconcentrate fire on target. Force up.
Armored craft lost.
Maintain clearance. Stay mobile. Spare rally. Unleashing counter rounds. Air flights. Course set. Force out.
So, following that, let's just appreciate the ruin that is Nunya's economic line. Never stood a chance. Yeah, these assault ships now just ranging out at will. And let's be honest, like, the reason that was successful is because there's 3 defense turrets over here.
Defense alert.
Why would you do
Enemy
this?
Armor inbound.
Advance underway.
So what's that right there? That's AA turret, 3 ground turrets. That's 750 in CUs for those turrets alone, and then another 350 for the AA.
Destination locked.
Defense alert. Hostile carrier spotted.
Just
Armored craft
such a massive handicap to have on units which aren't in the right place.
spotted.
Again, the irony is, if they'd been over here, they would have decimated the assault ships coming in.
Advance to position.
Ah yes, and now we have the classic assault ship bug where when they get too close to a carrier they get really confused. So rather than pointing their guns in the direction they should be, they just kind of get stuck in a facing and just do nothing.
Defense alert. Hostile anti-air turret spotted. Armored craft lost. Armored craft taking fire.
And so it ends the assault ship's reign of terror, simply because they got too close to that blob of turrets. Payday must be so confused right now. I certainly would be. Oh, 1 second, what have we got coming in now?
Hostile scanner spotted. Defense alert. Enemy armor inbound. Hostile craft detected. Prosecute.
Researching another bit.
Enemy sensor post destroyed. Armored craft under attack.
Command verified. Return fire.
Hostile armor destroyed. Railgun taking fire. Defense alert. Hostile carrier detected.
Destination locked in. Decrease range fire. Assault railgun online. Course verified.
Sorry guys, I felt it was just best to just enjoy the cinematic glory of it all.
Armored craft has been lost.
Course set. Move to destination.
Oh, of course, no sight range. That assault ship going down, they can't actually see that. Who knew?
Resource units. Ready. Advancing. Maneuvering. Reposition craft.
Hostile strike craft destroyed.
Let's watch my favourite unit for a bit, shall we?
Operator. Assault railgun online now. Target position set. Move to contact. Position fire. Adjustment.
Railgun receiving hostile fire. Assault railgun lost.
Hello. Oh man, that screwed the camera something awful, didn't it?
Ready.
And with that, it's finally over. Nunya goes out under a hell of rail fire. Yeah, just some very basic errors on Nunya's part put him so far behind. The irony being that he could have shifted, though, if those turrets had been in the right place, if he'd scouted beforehand and then placed them in the path of those assault ships, it could have completely changed that opening play and given him room to work, get air going or get rails. Again, it's a shame, but we got some nice footage out of it. Eh? We also, look, Sinestro, my opinion is I just found out how to do true strategic zoom. I didn't need to go into sensors view, I could just see the whole map. So, you know, different ways of viewing it, man. Different ways of viewing it. So, Yeah. That was the last match from the round of 8. So we have Payday, we have Tren, and we have Saturus going through to the semis. So I will be loading up those replays shortly. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and then we shall resume with the semis. And hopefully if they go quickly enough, we'll go straight into the finals and get everything over and done with. So yeah, so do return for the next slog of the Artifact Cup 22.